Well, good morning. Our mission at First Evangelical Free Church is knowing God and making Him known. Our passion is we are becoming disciples, living as a family of disciples, serving as disciples in our community, and sending disciples into the world. As Eric said, I am Pastor Don, and I just have a few announcements for you this morning, and then I'm going to follow that with an update from the coronavirus, COVID-19. The big three this week for our church is Hidden Acres registration. There's a deadline of March 31st to get an early registration discount. We are hoping and praying that Bible camp will go on this summer. We don't know that yet, but if you go to hacamps.org and register there, you will get the early registration discount. If we are able to meet on April 19th, we have an evening of baptism scheduled. If we are not able to meet, we'll reschedule that. And then thirdly, Vacation Bible School is scheduled for July 12th through the 16th. And we need help. We need volunteers for a kitchen crew, for registration crews, crew leaders, supervisors, decorating. Jenny Boyle and Angie Fluth are the contacts there. And one more thing, Easter is going to go on this year. And it's a tradition in our church to have Easter lilies. I don't know if we'll be meeting, but you still can get Easter lilies at 7:50, and if we don't hold church services, you're not obligated to pick them up or to even pay for them. Lori Hansen is the contact for Easter lilies. So these and other announcements that we have are available in our bulletin, and we'll be showing you in a few minutes how you can get a bulletin, an easily accessible bulletin, and we'll do that in just a few minutes. So just an update on where we are as a church with COVID-19. It was just a week ago we were meeting here and wondering how we were going to deal with not being able to gather in groups larger than 250. Later that afternoon, the number was reduced to 50, and by the next day, the president announced that number was 10. And so we're all becoming familiar with things like Zoom meetings. There's been a lot of change over the last week. Positive tests in the United States are up about 10 times what they were from the time we met last week, and states are taking all kinds of measures to try to slow the spread of the coronavirus. And I know that by now we all know people who are economically impacted by this. But this is not a time for us as Christians to panic because we have faith in God. It's a time for us to be a light to the world and to respond in both faith and joy. Believe it or not, joy. Here's what James writes. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet various trials. And this is one of those. Lots of those. And for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you be made perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. Well, we'll continue to monitor the COVID-19 information, and there is a lot of it out there, but we will continue to pay attention to things from the CDC and then our local and state officials. The most recent guidelines for us are the President's Coronavirus Guidelines for America, and those things include staying home and working from home if you can. If you are sick, staying home, or if you're older, staying home. Avoid eating at restaurants and avoid social gatherings of more than 10 people. These guidelines are subtitled 15 days to slow the spread. Well, they went into effect on March 16th, and if you add 15 to that, that would be the 31st. And so we, through at least next Sunday, we plan to stream these, our Sunday morning service, and all other services that we have, and all other Bible studies that meet at restaurants would be canceled through the end of the month, with one important exception. That is this Tuesday and the following Tuesday, we plan to hold corporate worship here at church at 6:30 a.m. And if the group is larger than 10, we will split into various rooms or locations so that we will keep that social gathering limit in place. It's easy to focus on things like 10 and keeping our gatherings to less than 10. And if we do only that, we lose sight of some of the more important things, such as practicing good hygiene and keeping social distancing, and then even more so of protecting those who are at higher risk. So older people, those 60, like my age, or older, and especially those who have heart conditions or lung conditions or diabetes, and we need to do whatever we can at all times to pay particular attention to taking care of and protecting them. At the end of this 15 days, we do not know what the guidelines are going to be for our state or for our country. We don't really have a hint of that from, an official hint of that from the CDC. So let's take a look at, I want to talk to you a minute about our website, knowinggodsf.org. Last week we mentioned that we would be stepping up communications and using our website and trying to update our website to be more useful at this time. And we have begun to do that, thanks to people like Pastor Terry and Ellie Nord, who know how to do things with websites. But we've been updating it to make it easier for you to find things. And so this is what it looks like now. The first screen as you pop up, and you'll get that on your home computer, or you can even get that on your phone. And if you look at that, you will see that the links to the services are on our website and easily accessible. And underneath those, there are 4 buttons. The first one is the sermon insert. And so you can get the notes from Pastor Randy's sermon on your computer or on your phone, or if you really know what you're doing with technology, you can be watching on your computer and actually looking at the insert on your phone. So you'll also see that there's access to the bulletin there. So the announcements that I just read came from the bulletin, and there are more besides, but if you click on that, you will get the bulletin. Also, we're used to, when we have bulletins in person, having the connection card that you can tear off and put into the offering plate. Well, there's an electronic version of that, and there's a button for that too. And we ask that if you're watching this morning, if you would fill that out and hit the submit button, and it will come to us electronically. And lastly, on that series of buttons, there's a spot for online giving, and it's really, really, really easy to use. So please explore our website, especially those things that we've updated, and we will hopefully have more news soon and be able to worship again together very soon. Now we'll continue to worship as Pastor Randy comes up and leads us in our scripture reading.